and I'm Darbi.
And I'm Kaitlin.
We want to continue a conversation about relationships. So Kaitlin and I last episode talked about a recent conversation that we had in our relationship, and so it kind of just got us thinking even about the depth that we have or lack thereof in our relationships. So whether it's your best friend or your spouse or maybe even your parents or your kids. And so you kind of get to going through life, and we all do this, where you're in all these relationships, but really they change, and then those relationships aren't what they were, or they're shaky because you don't have this depth to them or these deep roots that you ever intentionally made.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Darbi and I were just kind of talking, and I was just thinking about, growing up. For me, I had a really tight-knit group of friends, and, you just always think that your friends are going to be lifelong. You just do, because you do everything together growing up, but when I started thinking about it, that wasn't the reality for me when we graduated, because I think the thing that we had in common was, we loved each other and we loved spending time together, and I still do love those girls so much. But a really common thing that we all had was athletics, that we just lived in the same town. And so when we all graduated, we all went to these different schools, all went to different areas of Texas, of Oklahoma, and our friendship never looked the same after that.
If high school doesn't just sum up that kind of friendship, I don't know what else does. You just think it's going to be you're going to be friends forever. I'm telling my boys now, I'm seriously, half these people, believe it or not, you will probably never really see again. And so I think that's what we're talking about, is that kind of friendship where you've shared all these awesome memories, and that's not nothing, but that's not generally what is going to help you maintain that relationship in the long run. I'm friends with 2 girls from high school.
Wow. What type of friendship do y'all have?
So one girl, we became friends in freshman year of high school because she dated the boy that broke up with me for her. And then he broke up with her a few months later. So we bonded over.
So that was your common thing.
Yeah, we had a hate for this boy. After a love for this boy. And we've always stayed friends, but I literally haven't seen her in years. She lives probably just 2 hours from me. And every year we text each other on our birthdays, and that's our thing, because we're just 2 days apart, and then we won't speak again for the next year. But I adore her, and that longevity really matters to me. I have another girlfriend that we became friends junior year of high school. Once I moved in high school, and then she and I became friends junior year, and then we reconnected when we were both at TCU, and we still talk. I just talked to her this week, and we text a lot. We still meet up. I'm going to see her for her birthday next week, and so we're more still closely tied, I guess. And so we do make time. We meet halfway between our homes every now and then for breakfast. And I think that's not the norm for sure. And, the thing is it takes work.
Yeah, it does.
Which we kind of talked on last week. And so we just kind of wanted to talk a little more about what that looks like.
Yeah, well, because I think that it would be fair to say that a lot of people generally lack really deep friendships.
Absolutely.
Relationships, even, whether it's with your spouse or with your family members, your parents, friends. Why is that so hard? Why did my friendships with my friends that I was friends for 18 years, why did it not last a 19th year? Yeah. And I wanted to be so clear that, there's not I love those girls. I'm about to see them all again in a month, or this month for our reunion. I love them, but you're not living life together anymore. So why did that not last? And, in the last episode, I shared that I really think, for me and Darbi, our friendship started with where we were. It was at church. We met at church, and we were at church all the time. So that was the thing that we did all the time together. So now that that's not the case, now that I'm not at church in the same capacity, for me, our friendship now progressed past our common thing being church. Now it's we just have a love for each other and a love for each other's families. And so I think that in that we have both equally decided, like, I want to put some roots down in this friendship.
Yes.
I don't want it to be surface level anymore. I don't want it to be like a convenient friend.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That you have similarities, or you do, you're in athletics together, or your kids play softball together. Like, that is great, and those are good friendships, but at some point, you do need to go to the next level.
Yeah.
Right?
We do. It's like, we were talking about this with the pots, the plants and the pots.
Yeah.
Because, when you put a seed, you can put it in like a little tiny pot, and it has a little sprig, but like if you pulled up that little sprig, there'd be no roots, there's nothing.
Right.
But then as it grows a little bit, then it gets too big for that pot, you move it to the next pot. And I think that's, there's always a risk when you transplant a plant into a new, because you're risking that root system.
Yeah.
But, I think that's our relationship. And so you go, okay, no, we know that it's worth the risk. We know that we can make it, but this is how we're going to do it. And so you kind of do have to be really intentional. Like, okay, we're doing this. This is what it's going to look like. Now I'm going to check on you. We're gonna hang out differently than we did before, and I think that does take some thought and some intention.
Yeah, it's all about, like, if you think about reach in two different ways. If you're thinking about like spreading out wide, man, you can get really wide. You can gather a lot of people. You can have a lot of friends. Like, that makes for a really great photo. Like, looks awesome. Can be so fun. Lots of different conversations. Lots of different personalities. Okay, so spreading out wide is one way to reach, but another way to reach is depth, which I don't know that you can have two at the same time. Because if you're reaching really wide, then you're likely not reaching really deep, because you've got further area to grow. Or if I've got all of these friends, then it takes longer to grow deeper with all of them. Right? And ultimately what happens usually is you really don't. You've got surface level friendships that are fun and great and you love them. But if you move, or if your life takes a change, then you don't really have the depth. You haven't put in the time for the depth. Right?
Yeah, and I think, because I can think through, I've got a couple friends that I'm like, okay, we've been friends like 8 to 10 years. So there's like these time frames in my mind of like, okay, I have my two 20-year plus friends. Then I've got like my 10-year friends. And I can go, okay, their roots are pretty solid.
Yeah.
I don't have to water them every day. I don't have to check on that plant. They're good. Whereas like, I feel like Kaitlin and I are at this like 4 or 5 year mark. And so it's like, it's still growing. We're still getting roots. We're pretty developed now. It's not like we're baby friends, but it does still require more time, and that's good to just know that. I mean, your kids are the same way.
Yeah.
Your toddler needs way more effort than my 17-year-old. That's not wrong or right. That's just
the season that you're in.
Absolutely.
So it's the same with your spouse. If you're like, man, me and my husband or me and my wife, we really just don't talk about deep things. You first just ask why. Like, what is it? Do you... if you're married to them, then you probably love them, right?
I hope.
Yeah, you love them. You hope you love
These
them.
days, I don't know.
So that if you love them, then you ought to care about the deeper things. And you ought to make time to have those kind of deeper conversations, whether it's spiritual type of conversations, or maybe it's things that... maybe it's things from your childhoods that you've never really disclosed with each other, or things that you're recognizing in them now that, wow, that's coming from a place like I'm scared to talk about it with them, or we don't talk about those sort of things. Like, why not? Because you will only ever reach a certain depth until you are willing to talk about those things.
I know. And, just a couple weeks ago with Mike, I'd had an epiphany in a morning conversation with a friend about something just within myself. And I thought, I need to tell Mike this. And so I texted him and I said, hey, nothing's wrong, but there's something I really want to talk to you about. And he said, okay, I'll be there in an hour. And he literally came home, like Friday is my off day, at like 11, I don't know, it was 10 or 11 in the morning. And we just sat at the dining room table. And it was like, okay, it was just like, he's like, wow, what, all of this? And it's this whole hour-long conversation we had, and I said, okay, that's really it. Like, there's nothing to do. I just needed to tell you that I realized this, and there was some things I felt like I needed to just own and apologize to him about, and then for him to be able to, just express back, like, yeah, I see that, or that made me feel this way, but it's okay because I'm working on this. And so we had a plan, and we were on the same page again. And I feel like that sounds so silly, but really that's what it takes.
Yeah.
And I do the same with my older boys. When they come to me and say, Mom, can I just talk to you about something?
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, when they come to me and do that, I don't care if it's 6 a.m. in the middle of my quiet time or it's 10 p.m. when I'm trying to go to bed. If they want to process something with me, share something with me, I say absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
And I drop whatever I'm doing. There is no Netflix show. There is no book I'm reading. There's nothing I'm doing that is more important than what they want to tell me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like, Darbi, what do you think is, because last episode you talked about in order to be fully loved, you have to be fully known.
Yeah.
And what do you think, what is somebody missing out on? What is, like, if we're talking to somebody that, you don't have that type of relationship with a friend or with your spouse or with your parents, what do you think they're missing out on? Why would you take the effort or the time or the risk,
absolutely,
to have those type of conversations?
Well, I think you miss out on, number one, I think it's just like real love. The kind of love that it's ingrained in us to want to be loved like that. Because that's how God loves. Right. And I can think of moments, whether it's been Mike or a good friend, when I have been in a sin place. Yeah. And maybe that's not your thing, but I'm just saying that was my worst moment for me, where there was not my strength, there was not a goodness in me, but then somebody said, "I still love you." Yeah, that was the most God-like experience to me, for them to say, "I see the worst of you, and I love you." Yeah, because that's God in them, right? Because I tell people this all the time with my husband. I'm like, on my own, I can't love him fully. Like, I need God to love him fully, and he needs God to love me fully. And I think that's true in our friendships and with our kids, because we need his eyes for them to always speak to the potential of who they are. I think that's number one. Just getting to experience God's love tangibly through a person. And I think the second thing we miss is that iron in our lives. We all want to be growing. We want to be sharp. We should want that. And that requires having people in your life that are different than you. I just told Kaitlin, I was like, I literally need you, because on my own, I would just withdraw. I would not share things. I would just keep on going like an Energizer bunny. So I need her perspective of, like, just chill out, or just like, don't make it so hard. And I need that in my life. I need, all the different friends in my life that offer me a different perspective than my own, because I want to be that. Yeah. What do you think?
I just think it's a lonely life otherwise, because you can just look at, all the people in your life, and while you have love for them and you may enjoy spending time with them, if they only know
like the highlights?
Yeah. If they only know just the very just top layer of you, I just think you're so missing out. I do think that it is risky to put yourself out there, because you are trusting that this person has. I don't know, because I think you want to be, I don't know, selective in who you share all the parts of your life with, because that's not any Joe Blow. Like, that's somebody that's like, I feel like the Lord has brought us together for a purpose, and then you need to be equally yoked in your friendships too. So you don't want to share all the parts of your life with some person who's going to give you bad counsel, or...
Man, that's a word for some teenage girls. Because Noah and I had this conversation the other day, where I was asking him, I'm like, why are all these teenage girls just settling in their friendships, in their boyfriend relationships? Like, because I was thinking, as you were just talking about the loneliness, I think you miss out on a part of your purpose. Yeah, for sure. Because there's so many people that don't know their purpose, but always your purpose involves other people, which we've talked about in other episodes. But And that's why it's risky, because people are risky. Some are going to hurt you.
Yeah.
They just are. Like, it's okay to go ahead and just accept.
And not to mention, like, Darbi and I can be as honest as we can be about our friendship, and we're going to continue to grow and love each other, but I will hurt Darbi eventually, and she will hurt me.
Yeah.
So you're not saying that this person is perfect because they know all of me and I trust them. They are sinful just like the rest of us, right?
Yes.
So you just have to put that out there. You're not expecting a perfect friend. You're not expecting them to not mess up or to not ever, be inconsiderate or be hurtful, because it's going to happen. It's inevitable. But what you're saying is that when that happens, we will choose to deal with it, to address it, it's like an unconditional friendship.
And no, we were kind of talking about commitment.
Yeah, it is.
It's part of it, right?
Yeah.
So even whether it's your marriage, like, okay, I'm committing to you. Like, the ending of this is not an option.
Exactly.
I think you have to say the same thing with certain friends. Once you found that person, and that was a good point, you don't want to just go tell everyone and see who sticks. It's not spaghetti.
Yeah.
No one's spaghetti friends, okay? But, you find those couple that and you know what I'm talking about, those couple that you're like, there's something about this person that I just love them.
Yeah.
And I think once you know that, and you kind of share something, and then it's okay, you share a little more, and that's why it's a process. But I just think, man, it's everything.
Well, I cut you off when you were talking about loneliness. What is it like? Why do you think? Because for me, that's so part of my story, was I had to be lonely. When I was choosing who I was going to be, there was a time where I felt like that loneliness was the only place that drew me closer to the Lord. And I was fine with it. I was uncomfortable. I was probably slightly embarrassed that this was my life was. But even now, like, there are times when you feel lonely because you feel like you're missing out on what the rest of the world is doing. But when you know that you're not supposed to be there, it's a wrestling, you know?
Yeah.
And so for you're talking about younger girls, it could be the same with someone in their 60s, whatever. But you have to decide, and that goes back to your relationship with the Lord. Lord, am I actually obeying what you're calling me to do? Are you calling me to stay home tonight? Because I really want to go out. Or I really want to go to this place or that place. Like, I want to be in the scene. I want to have fun. Like, but are you telling me to stay home because that is not where I should go? Then ultimately, like, you have to. And if there are friends in your life that are like, they're making fun of you, or they could never understand your thought process, then maybe you're not on the same page.
Well,
them.
And I think we confuse loneliness with doing certain things in culture. I've got to go to the party. Yeah, FOMO. Oh my gosh, it's a real thing.
It's a thing.
And I think that's a trick of the enemy.
Yeah.
Because even with these great friends that I have and have built over that, I still know there are seasons of loneliness for me, because loneliness has more to do with just a mindset that I'm in. And I could be going through something that no one else is going through.
Right.
So that's when I know I need to go to the Lord.
Right.
But I do think there's comfort in sharing that with a friend.
Yeah.
Like, while Kaitlin might not understand everything I go through, me sharing it with her, there's encouragement that I get. There is truth that she can speak that that's what I'm getting from my friends. Yeah. And, everyone's reading that Jenny Allen book, Find Your People, because people want to find their people because they don't have their people. Yeah. But we're all around people all the time. Right. And so I started reading it just to kind of see where everybody's reading it. But she talks about, just having people that are in your life too that bring you casseroles, I think is her thing. But I thought, you know what? I actually have a neighbor that when I need oil or an egg or a phone charger, like whatever, I call her and she does it. Yeah. I've got another friend at the boys' school, and when I need help there, she helps me with that. And so I have these people. Now, I'm not sharing every detail of my life with them necessarily. Right. So it takes this village of people, and
it does.
Not everyone can be your best friend. Yeah. But everyone serves a purpose in your life, and just kind of knowing what that looks like.
Well, and I think that if you're at a place where you're like, I don't have that kind of friendship, I don't have that kind of relationship, just know it is such a slow process, but you just have to start. You just have to, I think honestly, going to the Lord and just saying, Lord, like, all the people in my life that I see right now, or the people that you're going to bring in my life, would you give me the discernment to know and even speak to them, like bring us together, bind our souls together, and just start pouring into that friendship. I think that, we're talking about depth. If you think about, we talk about the roots too. If you think about the roots of a tree, when you think about a small tree, it's being stabilized by these posts, right? Because it takes so much time to grow the depth that can withstand the winds and the rain and all of the elements and the different circumstances. It takes so much time, but it is so worth it. Right? It is so worth it.
So worth it.
And so I think if you're like, man, I just want one kind of friend like that, one kind of relationship, then I think ask the Lord, hey, Lord, give me the eyes to see who it is, and just start pouring into that friendship. Start praying for them.
Yeah.
Start asking the Lord how you can encourage them, how you can love on them.
Well, no, you're right. That's absolutely it. There was these two girls probably a decade ago on when Instagram, I feel like it first came out.
Yeah.
And I followed them. They were at my church. They were younger than me, but they posted every day of themselves doing something so fun. And they would be matching or not matching. I don't know. They just looked like they were best friends. I think they're still friends to this day, but they both live in different states now and all that. But I remember watching them every day on social media thinking, God, I just want one friend like that.
Yeah.
And so I started to pray, God, help me see, how do I have that kind of friend? And so then he said, well, then you have to be that kind of friend.
That's true.
So then I had to start doing that. And you know what also came with that is working through conflict with people that I already had in my life that were not those friends.
Yeah.
Do you know I had to go through a season of letting almost all of those friends go because they weren't the friends that I was praying for. So he said, now then you've got to let them go.
Yeah.
Because I can't bring you the person that I have for you until you let all these other friends go. So that was one thing. And I think we tend to look at any kind of conflict or any kind of, I don't know, just negative feelings or negative things that come up in our relationships as, that's bad. So let it go. Sometimes, and that's why I say pray about it. Because sometimes you do need to let them go.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like, no, just stick it out because that's where you build trust.
Yeah.
Whether it's with your spouse or with your friends. Like when you get through something hard,
man,
you're like, I love you even more.
Yeah.
You said that.
Yeah.
But I know it's been true with my kids, with my husband, and with my friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Enduring.
Yeah, it's true.
And going deeper. It's hard, but it is worth it.
Well, it's just further evidence that behind the scenes of real life, of real relationships is work.
Yes.
It is hard, but it is worth it. And ultimately, it is good. And I think it's the way that the Lord designed for us to be in real, true, deep community with others, because we're better for Him for it. We're better for each other for it.
Yeah. That's it. That's what the body should look like.
That's right. Cool. I love this conversation.
I do too.
Cool. We'll see y'all next week.